Welcome to our deep dive, everybody. This time, we're going deep into the Ottoman Empire.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, to explore the life of Kösem Sultan.
I love this one.
Yeah, it's a good one. You might not know her name right off the bat.
Right.
But trust me, her story, you won't forget it. We're going to be looking at excerpts from her Wikipedia page today.
Okay.
And we're going to unpack how she went from basically a young woman sold into slavery
Wow.
to arguably one of the most powerful women in Ottoman history.
That's a heck of a glow up, wouldn't you say?
Huge glow up. Yeah, I mean, it's like movie level stuff we're talking about here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Palace intrigue.
We're struggling.
And a woman who just like beats the odds over and over again
Yes.
to come out on top. And during a really like tumultuous time for the Ottoman Empire too.
Exactly.
So to really get into it, I think it would be helpful
Yeah.
to understand the world she was living in.
Totally.
You know, just to kind of set the scene a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're talking about the 17th century.
I'll go.
The Ottoman Empire is massive. It's powerful. It's stretching across 3 continents. And at the heart of it, you have the Sultan, right? The absolute ruler. And the court. Oh, the court is a whirlwind.
Oh, I bet.
Of alliances, rivalries. You know, you have everyone vying for the Sultan's favor,
Oh, yeah.
influence, power. It was the place to be if you could handle it.
If you could survive it.
Exactly.
So let's talk about Kosem.
Let's.
So she is believed to have been born around 1589,
Okay.
most likely on the Greek island of Tinos.
All right.
Now get this. At just like 14 or 15 years old, she's kidnapped,
Oh, my God.
sold into slavery,
What?
and ends up in the harem
No way.
of Sultan Ahmed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm talk about like being thrown into the deep end.
Seriously.
At such a young age.
I can't even imagine. I mean, what a turn of events. But here's the thing, right? Even in this situation, this like incredibly difficult situation, Kosem, she finds a way to rise above. And she catches the Sultan's eye, not just with her beauty, which historical accounts definitely emphasize, but also with her intelligence,
Okay.
her wit. There's even a Venetian ambassador at the time
Oh.
who described her as, quote, a woman of beauty and shrewdness
Ooh.
with a talent for singing and, quote, many talents.
Many talents.
Yeah, so clearly it wasn't just looks that got her noticed.
Right.
This was a smart lady,
Yeah.
knew how to play the game even in the confines of the harem.
Yeah.
And it paid off big time.
Mm.
In 1605, she becomes Ahmed I's favorite consort,
Oh.
his Aseki.
So, I mean, she's moving on up in the world.
She is. But remember, the Ottoman court, like we said, it's a place of constant intrigue,
Right.
danger. And one of the biggest dangers was this practice of fratricide.
Oh, man.
So basically, to secure their own power,
Right?
Ottoman sultans would eliminate their brothers.
Yikes.
It's a brutal practice.
Yeah.
But it has its roots in a long history of succession disputes and this need to prevent civil war.
Right. I mean, that's
So any son that Kosem had
right.
with Ahmed would be in constant danger.
Oh, gosh. I mean, so how did she have...
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do with that?
It's incredible. Right, so historians believe that she actually lobbied to keep Ahmed's half-brother, Mustafa, alive.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
But that seems counterintuitive. I mean, I would think she would want to eliminate all rivals.
Right, but it was actually a brilliant strategy.
Okay.
Because by protecting a potential rival to her own sons,
Yeah.
she created this kind of insurance policy.
Okay.
See, if Ahmed's eldest son from another consort came to power,
Right.
he might be less likely to execute Mustafa,
Okay.
and therefore less likely to execute Kosem's sons.
Oh, so it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a gamble, but it's a calculated one.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to Kosem's strategic thinking.
Yeah. She's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. So she's protecting Mustafa, but she's not just like sitting back
No, not at all.
and waiting.
Right.
She is building alliances. Because she understood that power in the Ottoman court, it was all about who you knew and who you could rely on.
Right.
So she strategically aligns herself with powerful figures,
Okay.
like the Aga of the Janissaries,
Oh, yeah.
the elite military force.
Oh.
And she cultivated relationships with the Grand Viziers,
Okay.
you know, using even her daughter's marriages
Wow.
to secure those alliances.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There's even evidence suggesting that she maintained a pro-Venetian stance,
Interesting.
which suggests she was involved in, like, international diplomacy.
Wow.
which is pretty remarkable for a woman in her position.
Yeah, she was playing on a big chessboard.
She was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But even with all her cunning, the Ottoman system was still very patriarchal.
Right.
So how did she amass so much influence in this world dominated by men?
Yeah, how'd she do that? Well, that speaks to this very unique period in Ottoman history known as the Sultanate of Women.
Ooh, interesting.
So during this time, women of the imperial harem, especially mothers
Right.
and wives of the sultans, they wielded this unprecedented political influence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was the perfect storm for
Yeah.
someone like Kosem.
So she was able to capitalize on this shift in power.
She was.
That's happening.
Exactly. It wasn't just her ambition, it was the unique circumstances of the time that allowed her to rise.
Right.
And rise she did. However, when Sultan Ahmed Hared died in 1617,
Ooh.
that fragile world that she had so carefully built, well, it starts to crumble.
I mean, yeah, I imagine the death of a sultan always just throws the Ottoman court into just like chaos.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
It was, think about that fratricide thing we were talking about.
Oh my God.
It's a constant worry for Kosem.
Yeah. So what happens when Ahmed Free dies?
Well, that carefully crafted plan of hers to protect her sons.
Yeah.
It faces some major challenges.
Oh.
Remember, she had supported Mustafa Sir's ascension to the throne, right?
Right, to protect her sons from Osman.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Mustafa Sir, he was considered like a weak ruler.
He was. He spent much of his life confined within the palace.
Right.
Seen as easily manipulated. And so by supporting him, she was able to exert a lot of influence, but it also made her a target.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
For people who saw her as the real power behind the throne.
So it's high risk, high reward.
Always. But unfortunately for Kosem, his reign is very short-lived.
Oh.
He's deposed and replaced by Osman II.
What?
And this is a huge blow to Kosem.
Yeah.
Because Osman II is much more assertive,
Okay.
determined to consolidate his power, eliminate any potential rivals.
So he sees her as a threat.
Oh, absolutely. He sees her as a reminder of the past he wants to erase.
Oh.
So he banishes her and her children to the old palace.
Oh my goodness.
Which effectively strips them of their influence. Puts their lives in danger.
Wow. So she goes from the Sultan's favorite to banished and like fearing for her life.
That's the Ottoman court for you.
I mean, how did she even handle that?
It's a testament to her resilience, right?
Yeah.
To her adaptability.
Yeah.
She could have easily given up, accepted her fate.
Right.
But even in exile, she remains a force.
Okay.
She uses this time to observe the political landscape, build relationships,
Yeah.
and just wait for the right moment to strike back.
Oh, she's biding her time.
She is. She is a survivor.
So what's her next move?
Well, that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of our deep dive.
Ooh.
But let me just say that Osman II makes a critical miscalculation.
Okay.
One that opens the door for Kosem's triumphant return to power.
Oh man, you're leaving me hanging.
I know.
This is already a wild ride.
It is. Buckle up.
Okay. So we left off with Kosem banished, stuck in the old palace, stripped of her power, and facing a new sultan who saw her as a threat.
Yeah, Osman II.
Yeah. It's a bad situation.
It really is. But you have to remember the context. The Ottoman Empire, as big and powerful as it was, it wasn't like a perfectly unified thing.
Right.
You had all these factions and rivalries.
Sure.
And simmering resentments, especially towards some of Osman II's reforms.
So he was trying to change things up.
Yeah, he wanted to modernize the empire, assert his authority, but not everyone was happy with how he was going about it.
Right.
And he made a pretty big mistake.
Oh.
He alienated the Janissaries.
Oh, those guys. The elite troops.
Right, the elite troops.
Mhm.
Traditionally a hugely powerful force in Ottoman politics.
Right, and he messed with them.
He did.
So he weakens the Janissaries, and that kind of gives Kosem an opening.
Exactly.
Mm.
The Janissaries, they want their power back, their influence.
Of course.
So they revolt, they storm the palace, they depose Osman II.
Yeah.
And guess who they turn to for support?
Oh, it has to be Kosem.
Kosem.
She's like waiting in the wings.
She's been biding her time, building relationships, waiting for this exact moment.
I knew it.
Yeah. And the Janissaries, they remember her generosity, her past support.
Right.
So they see her as a valuable ally.
So they put her back in power.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
They free Mustafa Ayam from confinement, and they reinstate him as sultan.
Oh, wow. It's like poetic justice or something?
Right. The sultan who banished her gets deposed,
Yeah,
and the one she supported is back in power.
I love it.
But we know Mustafa Ayan, not exactly the strongest leader.
No, it's not really.
So where does this leave Kosem?
Back in control, pretty much,
Yeah,
right?
you got it. She's the power behind the throne again.
I was going to say, I mean, she's got experience doing that.
Oh, yeah. She knows how this works. So while Mustafa Ayan has the title, Kosem's running the show.
Running the empire.
She's attending the meetings of the Divan,
The
the
Divan.
Imperial Council,
Okay.
making key appointments, influencing policy. It's really extraordinary.
So wait, back up. What is the Divan exactly?
Okay, so think of it as the Ottoman version of a cabinet,
Yeah.
where all the viziers, the high-ranking officials, they would meet,
Uh-huh.
discuss, and decide on matters of state. For Kosem to be there,
Yeah.
let alone have a voice, unheard of for a woman at that time.
So how did the men in the Divan feel about that? Taking orders from a woman?
Well, it's important to remember the Ottoman Empire, despite being very patriarchal, did have this history of powerful women.
Right.
And this period, like we said, the Sultanate of women,
Right.
it saw women like Kosem wielding a lot of influence.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean there wasn't resistance, resentment,
Yeah, of course.
but it was a unique time
Right.
where women like Kosem could actually operate within the system to achieve their goals.
Wow, she's good.
She is. But it's still a delicate balancing act, right?
Oh, I bet.
She's got to maintain the support of the Janissaries, keep the viziers in check,
Right.
all while protecting her own sons from anyone who sees them as rivals.
So how long does this arrangement with Mustafa even last?
It doesn't last long, unfortunately.
Oh.
His mental instability, which was always a concern, it gets worse.
Right.
And it becomes pretty clear that he's just not fit to rule.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew that.
Right.
Right.
So the Janissaries, along with the viziers, they decide to remove him from power.
Okay, so that's got to be another one of those nail-biter moments for Kosem.
Oh, absolutely. Her plan to protect her sons through Mustafa, it failed.
Big time.
But she had learned from her experiences,
Oh,
from her
okay.
mistakes, and this time she's prepared.
Is ready.
The Janissaries and the viziers, they recognize her influence. They want stability.
Right.
So they agree to support her son, Murad IV, as the new sultan.
Okay, so this is a big win for Kosem.
Huge.
Her son is finally sultan.
Finally.
But not only that, she's officially recognized as his regent.
Yes. The Naivi Sultanate.
That's a mouthful.
It is, but it's a big deal.
Right, right.
Like, totally unprecedented for an Ottoman woman.
Yeah, it's really amazing when you think about it.
She went from slave to the most powerful woman in the empire.
Yeah.
The one who's going to guide her son
Right.
and essentially rule in his name.
Right. So, but Murad IV, he's only 11 years old when he takes the throne.
He is.
So you can imagine, I mean, the challenges that Kosem faced, right? As regents.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're talking wars, rebellions, major financial crisis. The empire's in turmoil.
Oh, that's rough.
It is.
So how does she even handle all that?
With incredible skill and determination, honestly.
Okay.
She takes control of the finances, implements reforms to stabilize the government. She even oversees the construction of fortresses to strengthen the empire's defenses.
It's a lot.
It is. There's even this anecdote about her ensuring provisions for the army when they were running low on food.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, shows you her practicality, her understanding of military morale.
So she's keeping things together.
She is. But of
Yeah.
course, there's always opposition, right?
Oh, I bet.
People resent her influence. They whisper in the young sultan's ear.
I mean, come on. It's the Ottoman Empire. There's always going to be somebody plotting.
Always.
So she has to, like, fend them off.
Oh, she does. She's a master of the political game.
Okay, she's got to be.
She forms alliances,
Right.
rewards loyalty, and deals ruthlessly with anyone who threatens her position or her son's rule.
Right. It's like a full-time job.
But it's not all just brute force, right?
Mhm.
She's also really skilled at diplomacy, at persuasion, at building consensus,
Yeah.
maintaining this delicate balance of power within the court.
Yeah. So she's got, like, the whole package.
She does.
So, but Murad IV, he's growing up, right?
He is.
So does he stay under his mother's thumb, or does he start to want to, like, assert his own authority?
He does start to question his mother's dominance.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, he's a strong-willed, ambitious guy.
Right.
He wants to make his own mark.
So how does she handle that?
Well, with flexibility and pragmatism, honestly, she knows she can't control him forever.
Right.
So instead of clinging to power, she adapts.
Oh, that's good.
She continues to advise him, but she allows him more autonomy.
Wow.
Her primary goal, always, is the stability of the dynasty,
Makes sense.
even if that means taking a step back.
So she puts the empire first.
She does,
Okay.
which, again, speaks to her political skills.
Yeah.
She maintains a level of influence, even as Murad asserts his authority.
They have a good relationship then.
It's complex. It's cooperation and conflict.
I bet.
There are times when they clash.
Of course.
Murad resents her interference.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they need each other to succeed.
They're a team.
They are. But then, in 1640, Murad IV dies.
Oh, he's still young, right?
Yeah, only 27.
Wow.
And this throws the empire into turmoil once again.
Of course it does.
And for Kosem, it's a tragedy, personally,
Yeah.
but also a political crisis she has to navigate.
And this woman, she's been through a lot.
She has. But with Murad V gone, the question of succession is back.
Right, right.
The only surviving son of Ahmed III is Ibrahim,
Oh, Ibrahim. The one we talked about before.
the one with a history of mental instability.
Oh, boy. Not good for the empire.
Not good at all. This is going to create a whole new set of challenges for Kosem.
Oh, yeah, I can already see that coming. This is a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, things are about to get even more dramatic.
Okay, so we're back, and we've got a new sultan on the throne, Ibrahim Kosem's son. But he's not exactly known for his stability, is he?
Not exactly. 1640, Ibrahim takes the throne, and yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty right out of the gate. He's prone to, like, paranoia, unpredictable fits of rage. Not a great combo for a ruler.
No, not really the qualities you look for in a leader. So, I mean, this puts Kosem in a really tricky situation. What does she even do?
Damage control. Like, always, she tries everything. Healers, distracting him with concubines, even ruling in his name when she has to. Basically, she's trying to protect the empire from him.
Yeah.
And, I guess, him from himself.
Is it working, though?
For a while. But Ibrahim's instability, it's like ticking time bomb. His behavior gets more and more erratic. He starts rebelling against Kosem, against her control. There's even an account of him mistreating his own sisters and niece. Takes their wealth, forces them to serve his favorite concubine. Awful.
Oh, man. I mean, it's one thing to deal with political rivals, but to have your own son turn on you like that, that's got to be devastating.
It is. And it's not just a family drama, right? This is a threat to the entire Ottoman dynasty. His actions are like destabilizing everything, alienating the Janissaries, the ulama, the religious scholars.
Wait, the ulama, they're involved. That's never good.
It's bad. By 1647, the empire's falling apart. Wars, economic turmoil, people are unhappy. Even Kosem can't control him anymore.
So what does she do?
Well, there's a plot to depose Ibrahim. Grand Vizier, the Shaykhul Islam, they're all involved. They want to put Ibrahim's son, Mehmed, on the throne.
So they just go right past Ibrahim. I'm assuming Kosem is in on this, right?
You'd think so, but she's actually hesitant at first. She's still trying to protect her son. She wants them to keep Ibrahim as sultan, but just, have a strong Grand Vizier to, control him.
So she hasn't given up on him entirely?
Not yet. But then Ibrahim, he just gets worse. Tantrums, wasting money. He even tries to execute his own son. People are terrified of him. Constantinople's practically starving because of him.
So that's it, right? There's no way she can defend him anymore.
The rebels, the Janissaries, the ulama, they confront Kosem at the palace. They want Mehmed I on the throne. They say Ibrahim is mad, a tyrant.
Wow, that must have been intense.
Oh, was. Kosem tries to reason with him, says deposing a sultan is dangerous, but they don't care. They've seen what Ibrahim is like. They want him gone.
They're not backing down.
Nope. There's this one quote from a religious leader. He tells Kosem, a mentally ill person cannot lead the ummah.
Right, so she has to choose, the empire or her son.
It's a brutal choice, but she gives in, agrees to Ibrahim's deposition. They depose him. He's later executed, and Mehmed IV becomes sultan. So you'd think this would be a victory for Kosem.
Right. Her grandson is sultan.
Right. But of course, it's not that simple. Mehmed's only 7, so they need a regent. And this time, Kosem has a rival. Mehmed's mother, Turhan Sultan.
Oh, so it's a whole new power struggle.
Yep. Kosem, she's the experienced one, right? But Turhan is young, ambitious. She wants to be the Valid Sultan, the mother of the reigning sultan. So there's this tension between them.
Oh, I bet.
Turhan gets a smaller stipend than Kosem. There are rumors of plots. Each of them is gathering allies, trying to outmaneuver the other.
Sounds messy.
It is. At first, it seems like Kosem has the upper hand. They give her this new title, Büyük Valide Sultan, the elder queen mother. Shows how much seniority she has. Plus, she's just better at the whole palace politics thing.
But Tirhan's not going to just sit back and let her win.
No way. She's learning fast. Builds her own power base, gets close to influential people, like the chief black eunuch, Suleiman Aa.
Oh, he's the one who controls access to the Sultan, right?
Exactly. Really powerful guy. So as Kosem and Turhan are fighting, he's kind of playing both sides, whispering rumors, causing chaos.
So, I mean, we've talked about Kosem's ambition, her political skills, but what about her as a person? Was she really as cold-hearted as some people said?
It's hard to know for sure. History is written by the winners, and in this case, it wasn't Kosem. But there are accounts of her generosity, her charity work. She helped the poor, built mosques, all sorts of things.
So maybe she wasn't all bad.
It's complicated. She was a shrewd politician, but maybe she also wanted to be remembered for doing good things.
Okay, so back to the rivalry with Turhan. What happens next?
Early 1650s, things get really bad. War with Venice, merchant revolts, Constantinople's a mess.
Perfect time for a power struggle.
Right. So these merchants, they storm the palace, want the Grand Vizier fired. And Kosem, she comes out furious that it even got that far. Shows everyone she's still in charge.
But Turhan's waiting for her moment.
Oh, yeah. And then this rumor starts. Someone says Kosem's plotting to depose Mehmed V and put his younger brother Suleiman on the throne.
Why would she do that?
She's convinced Turhan is a threat, that she wants to get rid of Kosem's influence over Mehmed. So she thinks if she puts Suleiman in charge, she can regain control.
Risky move.
Very. And it backfires. One of her slaves tells Suleiman Aya about the plot. We don't know if it was real or not, but Suleiman Aya uses it as an excuse to get rid of Kosem.
So she's betrayed.
Big time. Suleiman Aya takes control. There's a coup. It's all very chaotic.
And Kosem
Tries to escape, but they catch her in her apartment. There are stories of her throwing coins at them, trying to bribe her way out.
Wow.
But it doesn't work. Suleiman Aya orders her execution. They strangle her, maybe even with her own hair. It's brutal.
What a way to go.
Her death causes huge unrest. People blame the Janissaries. Turhan wins the power struggle, but it's a bloody victory.
It's a sad ending for her. She was ambitious, ruthless, but also did some good things. It's a complicated legacy.
It is. She was a product of her time, but also a woman who broke barriers, went from slave to one of the most powerful figures in the empire. It makes you think, how did she do it? Was she good or bad? Did she help or hurt the empire?
Yeah, a lot to think about.
Definitely. We hope you enjoyed learning about Kösem Sultan's incredible life. Keep exploring, keep questioning. There's so much more to discover in history.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everybody.
Yeah.
I think
Tell us what you think about this episode. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.